My name is Julie. I live in Northern Virginia. My time is occupied with educating my children. My son Jonas is 3 and Celeste is 8 months old. I love being in nature. I love to hike. I love caring for my sweet children. I love to read, to pray, to meditate, to study about how to better our lives and all the people of the world. I love using my creativity to bring joy to others through baking right now. Yeah, so as I was saying, when I was a child in elementary school, I wrote this thing for my mom. I'm not even sure if it was an assignment or what, but it's things that I'm thankful for. Yeah, so number one, I said that I'm thankful for God because He made me. And what's very interesting about that is that my family didn't really talk a lot about God when I was growing up. My grandmother went to church, but my family never really, especially my immediate family, like my mom and my stepdad and my dad, my biological dad, we didn't really talk a lot about God. We didn't have any religious practice necessarily. Well, this is when I was a baby here. Seeking, looking, I guess, for something. And then this one here, this is, one of our many adventures and hikes that we would go out to various places, usually mountains, but in this one's a field. I grew up in a small town in Churchville, Virginia. There's a lot of churches there, which is why it's called Churchville, of course. My family traveled around a little bit here and there, especially my grandparents and my mom and her siblings. My grandfather was in the military, and so all 4 of the kids were born in different places in the world. My mom was born in Germany. So that adventure streak kind of passed off on me, and I always wondered what was beyond the small town that I grew up in. So I had some friends in the neighborhood. One girlfriend I was really close to, and her family often went to church, which my family was not excited about, as I mentioned to you. And I also went to my grandmother's church a little bit. I enjoyed singing in the choir as a youth. I was kind of a rebellious teen. Oh, I cannot even tell you. I remember one time I actually ran away. Which we lived in the woods, so you can't really run too far. And so I just went down the driveway and I hid behind some trees, and I saw my parents driving by while they were looking for me. High school was torturous. I didn't get good grades at all. I really hated being there. I wasn't satisfied with the small town that I lived in, and I wanted to explore beyond that. And so I started looking outward. After graduating high school, I started to do domestic service. It's kind of like Peace Corps. So my first service assignment was in Seattle area. And so I moved from Virginia to Seattle. Did that kind of purposely because I knew that I probably would get scared out there alone. But I also purposely chose that place so that I wouldn't run back so easily. With AmeriCorps, I served with a team of 50 individuals. We went into different schools and we helped students with their language challenges. Did you want some fruit? I'm sorry.
Sure. Thank you very much.
I forgot to offer it to you.
Oh, this looks delicious.
Oh yeah, those are very delicious.
Yeah.
She was like a second mom to me in a lot of ways. She was one of those people that just believed in individuals. One of the first days that we started the program, we all gathered together, all 50 of us, and she's giving us kind of this pep talk. She said, so, I've sent all of your school's letters. They all know how amazing you are, and that you are people of excellence, and that everything that you do for those students will be from your heart. I mean, from that point on, how could we not rise to her expectations of us with that faith in us? So I did a second year of service with AmeriCorps in Atlanta, Georgia area, which was a completely different culture than Seattle. One of the team members, we were a much smaller team. It was a team of about 10 individuals. There was one individual there that was very loving and kind to every person that was around him. We all lived in cabins. We lived in cabins in the woods. I remember there were animals that would show up in this person's cabin, in his cabin, just randomly. Like birds would fly in, like turtles would be outside the door. Literally, there was one time where there were like turtles all lined up outside the door. That individual also attracted people in that way, you know. And one day on my birthday, he gave me a gift of a prayer book. And I had never even heard of a prayer book, had never said a prayer in my life that I know of up to that point. And I said to myself, what am I going to do with this? I mean, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. But what am I going to do with this, you know?
Yes.
I was done with the US. I had to see the rest of the world, and so I started applying to different au pair programs to be like a nanny or au pair in another country. I was talking to families in Australia and Italy and Germany, and ultimately ended up going to live with a family in Italy. So I was packing my bag for Italy before I went, and I put that prayer book on the outside of the suitcase, like in the little zipper pouches where you put things. So in Italy, while I was there, I was serving and working for a family. They had a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old, and teaching them English, and also the parents as well. So while I was there, I was using the internet a lot to keep in touch with my family and my friends and things that reminded me of home. You know,
Yeah.
The language barrier was a bit of a challenge, even though I did take some classes and learn Italian. I didn't really click with anyone, so I read a lot, and I was not an avid reader before that in life. I would read a lot on the internet, and I was being introduced to social media and Facebook and things like that, and so I created a Facebook account, and I would keep in touch with my friend that I mentioned gave me the prayer book. Dyson is his name. So Dyson and I would write back and forth, and other friends, and I would use Skype to call my family and chat with them. But through that, I ended up charging a lot of money on the family that I worked for on their internet. And I didn't know that in Europe, some places, and in some other places in the world, I'm sure, it's limited. Internet is limited. So I get this little message every once in a while that said something in Italian, and I just click OK. And that was charging money to them every single time. So I ended up charging like 1,200 euro worth of internet charges, and they were very upset with me. And somewhere around that time, I got sick and I had a fever. And the fever was so high at night that I would hallucinate. I was really ashamed to get in touch with the family and ask for any help. And so I didn't. And the only thing I could think of was I need someone. I need something to help me get through this sickness. And then I remembered that the prayer book was in the zipper pouch on the outside of my suitcase. And I went and I got that prayer book and I got down on my hands and my knees. And I read every single word in that prayer book. And I don't think I understood anything in my mind, but my heart understood. Interestingly enough, within a day or two, Dyson wrote to me on Facebook and he said, I don't know what you've done, but whatever it is in my dream, I kissed you on the forehead and I told you I was proud of you. A few months after that, I decided that I needed to continue my education, and to do that I needed to go back to the US. So I came back stateside and I was living with my grandma. I walked around a lot while I was in Europe because it's common, you know, for people to walk around. So naturally I walked a lot when I came back. That's what I was used to. And about a mile from my grandma's house, there was a building that had been there for more than 20 years. And I probably passed it thousands of times in my life. And as I was walking, I looked up and I saw this building and it said Baha'i Center. And then there was another sign that said 1-800-22-UNITE. And I just kept thinking, Baha'i, what is that, Baha'i? And then I thought back, oh, Baha'i, Dyson, Atlanta, and the prayer book. I showed up at the Baha'i Center one of the times that it said on the door, it listed that it was open. And there were some individuals in there and they were talking to me, explaining to me a little bit about the principles of the faith. And one of them actually I had met prior. Him and his wife I had met before. He was raised in Italy, and before I went to Italy, I went and I visited them in their home. Giancarlo was his name. Him and his wife Jane, they were telling me, you know, oh, this about Italy, and this is the city I'm from, and this is my family, showing me their photo albums and stuff. And then at the end of the photo album, there was a picture of a Baha'i informational booth they had set up in the city where he's from. And he said, I don't know if you know this, but I'm a Baha'i, and this is what we believe. I said, oh, those are things that I believe too. And he got all excited, and then shortly after that I had to leave, and I didn't think anything of it. Would go to the Baha'i Center for various meetings and things like that. I began to learn about the faith, and I remember one time specifically sitting around in a circle, and there was a fireplace to the side, and above the fireplace there was a quote from Baha'u'llah. It said, "The earth is but one country, and mankind its citizens." And I got goosebumps just like I just did when I said. I remember that sunk in my heart so much. They offered for us to study Reflections on the Life of the Spirit, Ruhi Book 1. And I reluctantly said yes. And then, we started to study the book, and, you know, things would come up in my life. I was still socializing. I was still going out with my friends for happy hour and drinking alcohol and things like that, which is pretty common in the US culture, I think. Sometimes I would call with lame excuses about why I couldn't come. You know, I would say, oh, you know, this came up or that came up, when really usually it was because I wanted to take a nap or I wanted to go with my friends or whatever. They would always say, oh, that's perfectly fine. Like, we just want to see you. We just want to see your beautiful smile whenever you come. You know, we'll be here. Over time, the things that I was interested in were changing. And so, like, for example, I didn't want to sleep in, go out with my friends drinking. I wanted to wake up early in the morning and I wanted to go to the park. I had other interests, exactly. And so naturally it evolved to where I even changed friends. And although none of my previous friends were offended, it seemed like I made new friends. I created new habits for myself. I changed jobs. One day we were just sitting around enjoying each other's company at the Baha'i Center, and I said, okay, so I'm ready to do that thing you guys keep talking about. And they were like, what are you talking about? I was like, that card or whatever, like I just you know, sign it and whatever. And they're like, what? Really? And I was like, yeah. It's just, you know, it was just a piece of paper to me, you know, in my heart I was there. Yes. So they were very excited, of course, and we took pictures, and you know, we had a great time after that. And to this day, that's the happiest moment that I've ever had in my life. My mom had thought that I had joined a cult, so she was a little bit scared, and I remember being on the phone with her one day, and she, in so many words, basically said, like, it is this cult that you've joined, or it's your family. And I was so shocked by that, you know. Because I joined through my heart, I think, I didn't really have a lot of words to explain to her why the Baha'i faith was a good thing for me, or why I wanted to do this. And so she didn't understand a lot. And so I took the phone off my ear, and I kind of looked at it like I was shocked, and I put it back, and I said, okay, Mom, talk to you later. And I hung up the phone. And you know, I had this rush of emotion coming through me. It was a mix of sadness, frustration, but underlying all of that was this feeling of peace and confirmation that even though my mom had said these things that she didn't mean, I had done the right thing. I had done the right thing, and I had committed myself to Valhalla. So fortunately, after that, you know, my family saw how I was making positive changes in my life, and I was making good decisions, so they were happy that I had something that inspired me to be better. My mom included. So whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope and pray that when the mercy of God passes you like a breeze, you turn toward Him and follow His path for you.